Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Devon Marcel Whitaker here, aka Dev Del Molino, the synthesizer of opinions. What it do? How you doing? I'm back on the video tip 5432 style. You know how it goes. The album is called Fuck the World, and the artist is Brent Faiyaz. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started on 5 things you want to know about Brent Faiyaz and this latest project he's working on, Fuck the World. Now, the first thing is, I got to be honest, I've been on record not really being the biggest of Brent Faiyaz's fans. If you go to my Instagram page and you scroll all the way down to the very, very bottom, you might see one of the first 3 reviews I ever done was a Brent Faiyaz review for the album Sonder. Sonder, which dropped in 2017, I believe. That had sort of a cult following from when it dropped till even now. You know, I think people really still resonate with that project. It's been 3 years since that project dropped. So one of the things you'll notice is that his voice has developed quite a lot. He sounds a little bit older and a little bit more in control, particularly when he goes up into his head voice. So a lot of his falsetto tones are much better than they were on Sonder. Another thing that you may notice is that his image and his lyrics have changed, slightly. He's added a touch more of a street element, a thug element to his personality. And whether it's really him uncovering himself a little bit more or it's a bit of an embellishment, either way, it's still pretty compelling. Though R&B is getting a little bit better, it's still a little sparse. It's still kind of few and far between when we get these releases. So we don't really have the thug R&B guy out there right now. And I think that's a great place for Brent to be. Other than that, you may not know that the guy is originally from Maryland, but if you've ever listened to a Brent Faiyaz song, you know that the LA lifestyle is thematically embraced. It is a motif throughout each of the projects he's dropped thus far. Sex, drugs, hip-hop, indulgence, the fakeness of it all. Like, he uses that to sort of illuminate his own personal traits through the lyrics. That's probably what you need to know about Brent. That's what you need to know about the album. Let's talk about my 4 favorite tracks, because there are 4 really, really strong tracks on this project. Okay, at the bottom of the top, so number 4 on my list is going to be the song Clouded. It's number 2 on the track listing, so after the intro, which I found the intro to be, pretty compelling. I enjoyed the vocals used on that song, the atmosphere on that song. But to be honest, the way that Brent's songs move and transition sometimes is kind of hard for me to enjoy. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear the second song come in here and just be a little bit more straight away interesting off the bat. Like from the instrumental he uses to the tune that he carries. And this isn't even really a full song. It's a minute and 50 seconds. There's no hook. It's just him starting a particularly long verse at the beginning, adding a little bit more singing at the end. So I think this song sets the tone pretty well. It's one of the most re-listenable tracks on there, again, because it's so short. But then we get right into my 3rd favorite song on the album, the 3rd song on the album, if that makes sense. And this song is called Been Away. Now, this song is certainly a little bit more fleshed out. Like, we actually get a main refrain and a chorus here. The first couple songs are a great warm-up, and this song is a great follow-up, a full-length, fleshed out song. Brent is already sounding much more enjoyable this time around. He's finding that happy medium between making something that he knows hits on that first listen, but still maintaining his ability to move songs in ways that just most people wouldn't. So this is definitely the song that got me a little bit more sold this time around, thinking like, I might be in the midst of a really good project. And then we get to the 4th song, which turns out to be my 2nd favorite song. It's called Fuck the World. That's the title of the album. It's kind of a funny line, but there is something to this "fuck the world, I'm a walking erection" like refrain. And it is fucking fire, yo. Like, I have to emphasize the point that there's always been something pretty interesting about Brent on all these projects, and there's great songs on every one of his projects. This is the project where I see those interesting ideas come to a place where they can actually maintain themselves in just more of a sustainable fashion. Like, more songs are better. So again, 4 songs in, and I'm like, this is already better, like far and away better than his previous 2 projects. And funny enough, the next song, the 5th song on the album, is my number 1 favorite song on this project. It's called Let Me Know. Now, I may want to mention that between songs 3, 2, and number 1, I don't think there's that much space. So, I'm only 5 or 6 days out from having heard the album initially. So I expect this to continue to grow on me. I'm going to want to hear it moving forward. But Let Me Know was easily the most spun up in my head. Melody, chorus, just everything about the song from the rip. I love this hook about who can I love? They tell me I can't love myself. How could I possibly love anyone else? And I like that sentiment a lot because it does echo out onto some of the more insecure spaces that definitely show up on this project. Just kind of paints the environment that he may be in. Again, this could be like music industry or in LA or in black culture versus, greater American white culture or whatever. Who can I love if they tell me I can't love myself? Clearly, I have a hard time loving myself at times. And how could I possibly love these thoughts, basically, if, I'm not right at home? He paints himself as a very emotionally complex individual on this project. And I think Let Me Know drives that idea home the furthest in just a way that, I wasn't really expecting it to. It's a really uplifting tune that makes me feel good, but I know that it probably comes out of a difficult space to write from. So I commend Brent on that song quite a lot. And that's why it's my number one favorite song on Fuck the World. So let's get into 3 adjectives I have about Fuck the World. The first is savage, and I think you know exactly why I would portray it as such, because the lyrics on this, you almost can't miss. Some of the ones that I remember off the top of my head that just really made me go, damn, like, you don't give a fuck about these thoughts, is fuck her on the floor like I don't give a fuck about her. Or I'm going to run the streets when it's blackout and then come home and blow your back out. I hope that's okay. Or just because I fuck you don't mean that I trust you. Like, shit like that is just like, yo, who hurt you, man? Like, a lot of savagery going on. Like, either he or the woman that he's after is like a slime ball. And that's just kind of how the game gets played right now. Now, in this second adjective to describe the album, unlikely is the word. Fuck the World does a great job of maintaining some of the things that made him interesting in those earlier projects. But my third adjective is what really made this project the best of the 3, and that would be streamlined. So what made him interesting in those previous projects was streamlined with better music making qualities in this project. It was fun. It was encouraging and exciting to see Brent sort of pivot on a lot of what made him interesting in the first place into a place that allowed him to successfully and consistently create bangers on bangers throughout a project. This is the first album I'm really going to say that about. And as for a hot or not rating on the album, I'm definitely giving this thing a hot. And that's my take on the album. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go right over to that computer once I turn this camera off, and I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go to Spotify, and I'm going to put together a top 10 Brent Faiyaz songs playlist. I bet you the 4 songs I mentioned in here are going to be on it, and we'll see what else makes it onto the list. And if you're the Sonder Son guy, like you still think that's his best project, tell me. Like, explain to me what it is about Sonder Son that has not been topped yet. Season 4, Episode 2 is out now on Spotify, on Apple. Go check it out. Season 4, Episode 3 is coming very, very soon. So, art without favor is like a windmill without wind. Dev Del Molino, I'm out.